I don't understand how she ain't got 1 million followers or more by now. I've never really had an opinion on NBA or WNBA because I've just never cared to watch it. It's always been boring. Since Caitlin Clark, it has been interesting to watch. And now Sophie Cunningham, she don't play about her teammate. These girls, this combo makes it so worth watching. I heard she's a black belt too. What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it? You go, girl. Everybody go follow Sophie.
Now everybody knows who Sophie Cunningham is. Everybody wants a piece of Sophie Cunningham. Her jersey is the #1 selling jersey in the WNBA. Sold out. Now, why is that significant? I'll tell you. Because her jersey surpassed the all-time woman, Caitlin Clark. The most popular woman ever in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark, got her jersey surpassed by Sophie Cunningham. Why? Because Sophie Cunningham stood up for Caitlin Clark.
They tried to cancel Sophie Cunningham like she was trending for all the wrong reasons. A petition floating around calling for her to be banned. Fans clutching pearls like she body slammed the queen. And what did Sophie do? She hit them with the digital version of a shoulder shrug. No tearful apology, no Notes app speech, not even a fake PR spin. Instead, she reposted her highlight clip, dropped a flex-worthy Instagram reel, and casually mentioned her jersey just sold out. That wasn't a response, that was a flex, a full-on mic drop moment.
See, so I'm not the only one that feels this way. I'm not the only one that feels this way. I'm just saying. Sophie Cunningham stood on business. So all these damn petitions and all these little stupid things they're trying to do, these little freaking fines, we don't care about none of that. Now, just like Rachel said, your boy John Liquidator, I'm not condoning any violence whatsoever. But what I can tell you is that Sophie Cunningham stood on business and did the human thing to do.
While the league scrambled behind the scenes and social media melted down, Sophie didn't blink. She let the moment come to her and then flipped it like a pro catching a lob and windmilling it for the crowd. No fear, no filter, just a woman who saw the fire, poured gas on it, and smiled for the camera. This wasn't damage control, this was dominance, and it shook the league. So let's talk about this petition. Fans actually launched one to ban Sophie Cunningham like she's some kind of rogue villain from the WNBA multiverse. They framed her as dangerous, disruptive, the face of chaos, and she responded like it was a joke with her name in the credits. She didn't fire back with rage, she just reposted her jersey selling out and kept it moving. That wasn't silence, that was shade. The whole situation turned into a live-action meme with Sophie smack in the middle, cool, calm, and completely unfazed. It's wild how people thought this would break her. Instead, she leveled up. The internet gave her lemons, and she spiked them into the crowd like an ace. And just like that, the villain role they tried to stick her with, she owned it. Sophie didn't backpedal. She sprinted into the storm, wearing custom kicks and a smirk. The message was loud and clear. You can't cancel confidence. And fans, they ate it up. Let's be real. When your jersey outsells Caitlin Clark's, you're not just trending, you're taking over. Sophie Cunningham went from supporting cast to main character overnight, and the fans made it official. People didn't rally behind her because of some flashy PR rollout or carefully scripted post-game speech. They rallied because she kept it raw, stood up when no one else did, and made it clear she wasn't here for the drama. She was here to defend her people. Her jersey flying off shelves wasn't about flash, it was about facts. Sophie showed heart, grit, and loyalty, and in a league full of talent, that kind of authenticity hits different. It was less about who she shoved or who hit her, and more about how she handled it all with poise and zero apologies. That support didn't come from marketing, it came from the moment. Fans saw someone finally stand up and they stood with her. That's how movements start. Here's where things get ugly. If Sophie breathes too hard near a player, it's a flagrant. But when she takes a shoulder to the ribs like a linebacker on a mission, crickets. That Sheldon hit wasn't competitive spirit, it was a full-on demolition, and somehow the refs let it slide like nothing happened. Then Mabry follows it up with a blindside shove that should have drawn whistles from every corner of the court. Still nothing. Meanwhile, Sophie barely responds, keeps her composure, and she's the one painted as a menace. It's a masterclass in selective officiating. When certain players get physical, it's passion. When Sophie does, it's time for petitions. The inconsistency is wild. She didn't start anything, she just matched the energy and dared anyone to say something. The truth? Sophie's not dirty, she's fed up, and that frustration has been bubbling for weeks. Now the whole world's seeing the double standard and they're not buying it anymore. If you thought Sophie was done after the game, you haven't seen her Twitter feed. She didn't log off, she lit up. Every retweet, every smirking reply, every subtle jab, it was all part of the play. No screaming into the void, no messy rants, just elite level trolling with perfect timing. While the league was still figuring out how to upgrade fouls after the fact, Sophie had already upgraded her entire image. She wasn't just clapping back, she was conducting a whole shade symphony. Eye roll emojis, shrug posts, and clips of her highlight plays. That wasn't coincidence, that was precision. Fans started stitching her tweets into TikToks, quoting her in IG captions, turning her into a movement without her even asking for it. She didn't need a PR team, she became her own brand. Sophie didn't just respond, she reclaimed the narrative. And by the time the league caught on, she already had the crowd on her side, cheering for more. You ever watch a game and wonder if the refs forgot their job description? That fever game was it. Sheldon barrels into Sophie like she's tackling a dummy in training camp. Mabry throws a sneak shove like she's trying to win a WWE belt. And the refs, they blinked. Literally stood there like, huh, was that something? No flagrant, no whistle, just vibes. It wasn't until after the dust settled and the clips went viral that the league suddenly remembered the rulebook. Post-game foul upgrades, aka the WNBA's version of oops, are bad. Like patching a flat tire after the car's already wrapped around a tree. Sophie didn't need retroactive justice, she needed protection in the moment, and fans saw that. The whole thing turned into Exhibit A for how broken officiating can be. If Sophie doesn't stand up, Caitlyn takes more hits. If Sophie reacts, she gets villainized. The refs didn't lose control, they never had it, and that's the real problem. At some point, somebody had to say enough. And Sophie Cunningham said it loudest, not with words, but with presence. She wasn't out there throwing cheap shots. She was sending a message, touch my teammate again, and we've got a problem. While the refs stayed silent and everyone watched Caitlin Clark get bumped, poked, and bodied game after game, Sophie finally drew the line. She didn't cross it, she planted her feet and defended it. That's not recklessness, that's loyalty. When Sheldon came flying in, Sophie didn't flop. She absorbed it, stayed on her feet, and responded with energy, not violence. That's why fans called it standing on business, because that's exactly what it was. She saw the injustice in real time and did what the refs wouldn't, protect her own. That moment wasn't about starting a fight, it was about ending the silence. And that silence, it cracked the second Sophie stepped in. From that point on, the game felt different. Sophie Cunningham didn't ask to be the face of anything. She just wanted a fair game, a clean call, and a little respect. Instead, she got shoved, ignored, and dragged through headlines, and still came out winning. Not just because her jersey sold out, not just because fans rallied, but because she made a stand that people actually felt. In a league still trying to figure out how to protect its stars, Sophie became her own insurance policy. And in the process, she gave the WNBA something it desperately needed, an unfiltered, unapologetic presence who doesn't play politics, just ball. The ones who tried to cancel her, now they've got to watch her thrive. And whether you're Team Fever, Team Clark, or just tired of watching good players get punished for showing heart, one thing's clear. Sophie Cunningham isn't just surviving the moment, she's defining it. So if you're rocking with that energy, Go ahead and smash that like button, drop a comment, and hit subscribe because this story, it's far from over.